baseball has been so good to me. It's given me everything that I've got. I tried to give it everything I had.
Bob Horner, the nation's #1 draft choice. It would appear the kid has some kind of big future.
Another home run for Andrew Jones. What a performance by the 19-year-old.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a slam for Dave Justice. What can't this youngster do?
Mountain right. Welcome to the show.
You better hold on. You better believe in me.
National League Rookie of the Month, Andrelton Simmons. We are spoiled watching that kid play short.
Fight or flight starts kicking in.
Julio Teheran from Columbia.
Still just scratching the surface of his considerable potential.
Here it comes.
He struck him out.
And it's 40 and a share of the all-time rookie saves record for Craig Kimbrell.
Take a look at me.
There you go, a lasting image there of Eddie Matthews, who's one of the greatest, young players in the history of Major League Baseball, and, of course, went on to be a Hall of Famer. Some other notable rookie seasons for the Atlanta Braves, and including Craig Kimbrell, still with the club, Bob Horner back in 1978. Let's talk about the prospects that was then, this is now, who are now in the organization for the Atlanta Braves. Mike Foltynewicz there, a right-handed pitcher, now with the big club. Also, Christian Betancourt coming up with the Braves. Other players acquired in some of those massive trades that John Hart made, including Max Fried. We'll talk about some of these players right now as we're back here on MLB Now. We welcome in David O'Brien of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. David, welcome to MLB Now.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be here.
David, first of all, a broad question before we get into the specifics of who might make an impact. Trading away Hayward, Justin Upton, Evan Gattis, do you get the feeling that the Braves got enough of a haul back to trade away all that offense?
I do when you look at, what their objective was, which is aiming for 2017 and beyond, while also trying to, maintain respectability in the next 2 years, which is kind of an unusual path. You don't see many teams going that, but given the market, they can't do the Houston Astros, strip it down to the studs and rebuild thing here. So I think given, what everybody knew they were trying to do, I think getting especially the 7 prospects they got for Gattis and Justin Upton was a good haul.
Hey, David, stand, please. The Braves have been usually a team built around terrific starting pitching. One of the guys that intrigues me, Mike Foltynewicz. Now, do you see him having a big impact on this rotation in 2015?
He could. He's going to get a shot to win the 5th starter spot, along with some other guys like Stoltz and Wandy Rodriguez and Manny Banuelos. They got no shortage of candidates for that 5th spot. And, you pointed out they're always built on starting pitching, and I think that's why the team is going to be, at least respectable. They're not going to be an embarrassment this year, and they might be better than they were last year if they get, some team chemistry and the offense functions a little better than it did last year. But the starting pitching is going to be solid, and the bullpen should be solid if a couple of veterans are healthy.
David, Eric Burns, what about Max Fried, the guy they acquired, the left-handed southpaw at Harvard Westlake High School in Westlake Village, California? What should we expect from him?
Big things down the line. I mean, we're not going to see him this year because he's recovering from surgery, but they got big plans for him and Foltynewicz both for the future, and I think that was keys to both of those trades. John Hart came in with pitching. His #1 objective was to rebuild the pitching in the organization because it had gotten to an alarmingly low level, much lower than it had been with the Braves for the past more than a decade and a half. They've only had a couple of years in there where they weren't among the top 5 in the league in pitching, especially starting pitching. So they wanted to get back to that level, not just for now, but for the next decade.
Hey, Dave, Randy Wynn here. You have a young catcher, Christian Betancourt. Scouts rave about his arm and his power. What does he need to do to become a productive big league player?
He's got to get consistent, and he's got to sharpen up, tighten up his defense. I mean, he's here because of his defense. He's been raved about for 5 years or so as a prospect, maybe longer than that. Cannon arm, great agility for a catcher, very athletic. But at the same time, we saw it at last year in spots and a couple of months up here, and they've seen it a lot in the minors where it looks like, I don't want to use the word lazy, it looks like he gets a little sloppy, where he does, maybe because he's so skilled and he knows he can get by with his natural talent, that you see way too many pass balls that you should than you should see for a guy with his ability. So he's got to tighten that up now that he's in the major league. And offensively, we saw, spurts here and there, maybe a week here with some big hits, some opposite field knocks, that kind of thing. But for the most part, we didn't see a lot offensively, and he had shown quite a bit in the minor leagues, in the last couple of years he was in the minors. So the talent is there offensively. There's no doubt about that. He just needs to work with Kevin Seitz, his new hitting coach, and get a lot more consistent. Never played a 162-game season before. So that's gonna be another thing where they made sure that they were covered by bringing in A.J. Przinsky and a couple of other veteran catchers in case anything happens with Betancourt or he struggles or he needs more time in the minors. So that's not ruled out. So, but long-winded answer. He just needs to get more consistent, work on everything. Well, either way, David. I mean, they had 1 year sub 500. You see the record there, 96 wins, and they go to 79, and they are not staying in the same. They're tearing it up. Like, okay, that's enough. Bold moves by the Braves. David O'Brien, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. David, good talking to you today. Thank you so much. All right, thank you, guys.